So, you know that feeling you get when you've got an idea for a game and it's kicking around in your head for ages and you think, why hasn't anyone done this before? I could totally make this, it'll be easy. And then you start to make it and it's just as easy as you imagined. Me neither. Hey, my name is Sean and I'm the developer behind Vicious Legacy. I'm a solo developer working out of Perth, Western Australia, and when I'm not fending off giant spiders on my way to the shops, I work with Unity daily as a serious games developer, making games for training, health, education, and other non-entertainment projects. Link in the description. And so, since I've recently decided to take the plunge and slowly delve into insanity by trying to realize my dream game, as it were, I wanted to try and document the process for all of you out there who maybe you're just starting to think about starting your own game, but you feel like you don't really have any idea what you're doing. And it might help to see someone else who also has no idea what they're doing go first, so it's not so scary. That way, even if I crash and burn, there might still be something to gain from this. Vicious Legacy is a culmination of a lot of different ideas that I've had floating around for a while, and I've decided it's finally time to do something about it. Vicious Legacy is a procedurally generated isometric monster hunting action adventure RPG with roguelike elements. What do I mean by that? I won't get into too much of the story right now in this video, but basically you will play as a randomized up-and-coming monster hunter who needs to set forth into a world where large land masses have been broken up into smaller islands. Your skills and traits and appearance will all be random, as well as the world around you. You'll sail around between these islands in order to kill monsters, find treasure, and explore an overarching story, and when you die, time will still progress within the world without you, until you pick up the mantle once more with a new character years down the line. Think The Witcher meets Dredge, meets Tunic, meets what little we've seen from Little Devil Inside. Seeing indie games like Dredge and Tunic completely inspired me and gave me the belief that I could make something potentially as amazing one day if I just stick with it. And that's what this is going to be, eating the elephant. I knew this kind of undertaking would be no small task and require extensive documentation as groundwork if I were to proceed. So what did I do? I jumped in and started making the water right away. I knew right away that the water was something that I would need to get right. I wanted it to look good, I wanted it to feel good, I wanted it to look like it tastes good, and I had no idea where to start. My only starting point, my benchmark for good water, was that I'd played Sea of Thieves. And since no one will ever top that, I figured I'd start with creating a shader of some sort. I had no shader experience at all, and it showed. The first few attempts were interesting, but I couldn't help but dream of more. After many failed attempts and considering drowning myself in the ocean for some hands-on experience, I came across this video. And it finally explained how the built-in water system that I didn't know about worked in 2022 HDRP. So I slapped myself for not finding this sooner and upgraded my project from the universal render pipeline to HDRP. After literally like 5 button presses, I had something passable, and after 10, I had something I was happy with. Seriously, it's a pretty amazing system. Alright, fine, I did the documentation at this point. Always do the documentation first, kids. I knew sailing would be a large part of the gameplay, so I wanted to see how it'd feel before locking in the other parts of the game. I was fresh off the heels of playing Dredge and had a decent idea of what I wanted. Something that would be simultaneously relaxing but also very stressful. I wanted to add ocean combat. The same video went through a basic buoyancy system using this code, I won't go into it, just go watch the video if you're interested. But basically you make floater points which are affected by the waves and add force to the rigid body of an object at the points of the wave's impact. I've tried something similar to this in the past, and again, interesting results. But this did the trick, and I was finally making some progress. Next, I needed a boat, and jumped into Blender and whipped up something quickly. It's just a placeholder. I'm fortunate enough to have taken some 3D modeling courses in the past, so this was thankfully less of a learning experience for me. Once I'd textured it, thrown it into Unity, it was just a matter of slapping the model over the floater points. It's pretty cool. For the sale, I blew the dust off the legacy Unity cloth system, and it actually worked a treat for what I needed it to. For the wind, I just made the cloth force and random force attributes match the direction that we're facing at any given time, and it looks pretty good. After some annoying trial and error and some rushed animation work, I had a workable starting player boat with a nice kind of billowing sail. Getting the boat to interact properly with the water is still a bit of a work in progress, but it's feeling pretty nice. I also managed to solve the issue of the water clipping through the bottom of the boat, which is something that I guess makes sense but isn't something I really thought about before. The method I used was basically creating a second duplicate hull of the boat and then making a shader material for it that forces the camera to render it transparent whilst also ignoring the clipping effects of the water. Finally, the question remained, what would I be sailing towards? This is a biggie. Procedural generation is a topic I'm very interested in, and will ultimately be the crux of this game's world. So I wanted to make a start on it early and explore the different ways I could go about it. I took some time to decide which was the right way for me to make these islands. I could just bite the bullet and pre-design them. I could make base templates and randomize certain parts, but I wanted to explore other options. As I mentioned earlier, I want to not only just procedurally generate a world for players to explore, but to also grow it alongside them. I need a system that's flexible and powerful. Attempt 1, Blender. At first I had this idea to use Blender's Ant Landscape plugin to create small, detailed islands, decimate them to hell, to make them look low poly, and then import them into Unity. And this kind of worked, but again I wanted control, and I had basically none with this system, other than a handful of settings and seeds. And in the end it required way too much tweaking. I still didn't get it to look great, even after like a week of working on one island. It felt like I was trying to put two different worlds together, so I decided to keep looking. Attempt 2, WFC. No, I don't mean the warehouse furniture clearance. Shout out to my boys. I'm talking about wave function collapse. And again, no, not this kind for all you quantum mechanics enthusiasts out there, this kind. The kind that this guy uses to make insane things like this. Essentially, you give this algorithm a bunch of possible combinations in a grid, and it uses strict rules to come up with a unique configuration of these pieces that works. It's basically like forcing your computer to solve a giant Sudoku in reverse until it either implodes or gives you something really cool. It's amazing stuff, and I can tell you that after maybe a month of looking into every possible resource, this was still as good as I could get it. Attempt 3.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
I decided to write my own system. After all, I kind of knew what I wanted, so rather than try to reverse engineer someone else's, I spent some time, started making my own step by step, stabbing in the dark, doing things woefully inefficiently, slowly refining it. It's still far from perfect, but currently I've modeled a bunch of island fragments in Blender using cell fracture and other tools. Then in Unity, I wrote a system that first places some kind of entry point for the player. In this case, I modeled a low poly jetty and pre-made one section of the island that will spawn first. It then takes into account the position of the jetty and surrounding parts and spawns random chunks of island at random sizes, rotations, and heights. Then it does a pass placing similar pieces using the same method. Lastly, the current system then gets the vertex positions of the mesh and scatters rocks everywhere on the tops and sides of the island and scatters trees on just the tops. And in the end I got something like this. Of course this system is very crude, but after about a day of work, it's pretty solid. And I'll be improving it as I go. It's a start. So at this point, I've been working on this project for about 3 months, maybe 2.5 in my spare time. I was starting to make some progress. It's still small steps, but I'm keeping at it. I'm happy with my progress, but I've barely even scratched the surface. There's so much more I want to talk about, but before this video gets too long, I'm going to end it by quickly mentioning my plans moving forward. I'm going to try and post these devlogs once a month, and they'll probably be a bit more focused and shorter moving forward, hopefully. Next month I'll be looking at my progress so far in character design, animation, and isometric camera control systems and targeting, that sort of stuff. Also, there's this guy. If you want to know more about what I have planned for Vicious Legacy and want to follow the development, you can check out my official website for the game and follow me on Instagram. Lastly, please be sure to like and subscribe to this channel, as this is where the bulk of the content will be. I hope you've enjoyed this brief first look at Vicious Legacy. It feels awesome to really start getting something out there, and I can't wait to see which bits fall apart between now and the next video. See you then. It was at this point that I spilled my drink on the goddamn keyboard.